Now, to speak more on what World Press Freedom means to journalists, we are joined by former chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Lagos State Council, Olufunke Fadugba. And we also have joining us Gregory Gondwe, a journalist in Blantyre, Malawi. Thank you so much for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to begin with you, Olufunke. I mean, this year's theme is defined as by UNESCO as shaping a future of rights, freedom of expression as a driver for all other human rights. We've also heard lots of people talk about this press freedom. So let's drive this home. Let's understand what exactly this theme for this year means as World Press Freedom Day for all of us.
It means a lot for all of us because before you can have right to life, right to dignity, a right to personal liberty, all the other rights are embedded in freedom of expression. If you cannot express yourself, how can you have a right to life? If you cannot express yourself, how can you have the right to personal dignity? And that is what people are facing across the world, particularly in Africa. If you look at Nigeria, for instance, what we have gone through, without freedom of expression, even where we are today, we are challenged because you cannot even decipher the truth from falsehood. And thank God for social media. We may not have been able to know what is happening to so many people, but for the media. And it is because people can express themselves. But that is not to say that we don't have restrictions. We have restrictions both within and outside the media. We have restrictions in terms of interference, in terms of government's deliberate attempt to strangulate the media using its agencies. We also have other interferences, even from within the media itself, when people over-censor themselves, when they see what they should express, what they should help promote, to promote personal rights of people, because of what we can call funding, survival. We have suppressed some of these rights. We have suppressed, even when we hear the cry for help from the public, we hesitate to also propagate such help that these people need help. I think that the theme for this year is most appropriate. It is germane. It will help us to even deepen democracy in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. If we are able to establish, if we are able to defend, if we are able to stand with journalists to promote freedom of expression, stand with the media so that all other rights can also be easily accessible.
All right, thank you so much. You've spoken a lot about these inhibitions, especially when it comes to Nigeria journalism. I'm going to bring in Gregory into all of this. And it seems attacks on journalists by authorities in most African countries are on the rise. And in Malawi, this is not news to you. I mean, you were arrested in 2022 for publishing a story alleging police corruption. So, Gregory, what can you tell us about the press freedom in Malawi as one who is also caught in the middle of all of this?
I think what we are having at the moment is that we have politicians that are only doing the lip service when it comes to the press freedom. Because where I work at the platform for investigative journalism, we've had overzealous political party, especially the ruling political party followers, who would be sending you all sorts of threats and also all kinds of intimidation, as long as you publish a story that they think is contrary to the beliefs that they have. So much as we are always saying that the media is the fourth estate, we find that most of the time the three other branches of government would always try to intimidate the media. If you are going to write something about the judiciary, you are going to get that kind of threat from the judiciary. The same way when you are trying to write something that is touching about the legislature, you're also going to have members of parliament, some even threatening you for writing or trying to speak out about what is not supposed to be done in the manner that it is done. The same way with the executive, where you find that these are the guys that are controlling the public purse. And most of the times you find that the money that was supposed to go for a road construction, a hospital infrastructure, a school block is being squandered without any better explanation. So when we investigate these things and put them in the open, ask proper questions to find solutions to some of the problems that are being created by our politics, you find that you get all sorts of names, you get all sorts of threats. So in summary, I think in our scenario, I don't think we have reached a stage where we can say we are enjoying the press freedom.
Okay, but for you, Gregory, I mean, you've mentioned the fact that journalists are being threatened, some of them being killed. You look at other African countries. How exactly are all the journalists in Malawi, how have they managed to keep on reporting regardless of all these threats coming from different quarters?
Yeah, I think by the end of the day, if no one else is going to do this job, who is? So I think that's the mantra that the journalists in Malawi are using whenever they are facing all these hurdles, to make sure that by the end of the day we are playing our role as the fourth estate.
I'm going to bring Olufunke. I mean, you've mentioned so many things, especially when it comes to Malawi, and you've also faced the same threats, talking about this inhibitions to press freedom. And Olufunke, you mentioned so many issues concerning press freedom, but we see that the evolution of digital space is a growing concern. You talked about the fact that, thank heavens for social media that has allowed more freedom of speech. But the 2023 index spotlights the rapid effects that the digital ecosystem's fake content industry has had on press freedom. The difference is being blurred between true and false, real and artificial, fact and artifices. So in measured terms, how is this jeopardizing the right to information? So on one hand, we're seeing social media, we've seen news being spreading freely. But on the other hand, how exactly is it inhibiting this freedom of speech or information when it comes to this fake content we're seeing going around?
It is inhibiting freedom of speech in the sense that we have misinformation, we have disinformation, and we have fake news. And when you look at it, you have to take a second look at every report to be sure that what you are reading or what you are seeing is the right information. Even the society is confused. It's confused to the extent that they don't know what to believe, in spite of the fact that we have access. But is it quality access that we have? To what extent is this access helping to promote freedom of expression in terms of quality, not just quantity, that we have freedom? Freedom must go with responsibility. Freedom must go with that caution. Freedom must go with the fact that you don't just go out and doctor what is not true and be spreading it. And you say, just because you have a stake or you are representing a particular interest or you are representing a particular idea, you don't bother about others or the impact of what you are doing on the larger society or on the psyche of the people. I think that there is a need for us as media practitioners and even those who are into citizen journalism to be able to exercise self-restraint in terms of what we push out. We should not be pushing out misinformation. We should not be pushing out disinformation. We should not be pushing out fake news, which is capable of destroying the very fabric of the society. The ecosystem cannot be saved if we continue to propagate misinformation, if we continue to spread fake news about what is not happening. You just imagine, some people have even tuned off from us, the traditional media, because they believe in fact, they are confused to the point that they don't know what to believe. And I believe that the various stakeholders need to come together to see how to elevate the truth over falsehood.
All right, thank you so much, Lufinke, for sharing so much insight on this discussion. We, as well as others, are really hoping that all stakeholders, governments in Africa, will help initiate this press freedom that everybody is clamoring for. Thank you so much, Lufinke Faduba, for joining us in this conversation. And of course, Gregory Gondwe, who joined us from Malawi, thank you for joining us on this. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.